Hey everybody, welcome to the SMRI Tilson 200 live from Darlington. Typically, I am a driver, but tonight I get to be a broadcaster. So this is Chris Wright coming at you from the booth, all alone tonight. And it looks like here we got David Tucher is going to be on the pool, joined by Ethan Burrell on the front row. We got Dylan Thomas and Tyler Fody in row 2. Ryan Barbier, I believe that's how you say that, and Hank Steinmiller on right there together. Then we got Chad and Daniel Martinez, Colin Fern, Brandon Key. Scott Crump is starting 14th. He won the truck race last night. Just trying to hit on the important people back here. Looks like we had a group of guys that did not get a lap. Josh Adams, Trevor Elam, Josh Robin, Matthew Weeks. I have to think that those 4 guys are going to be a player in this thing. Just had some issues in qualifying. We got stage breaks at lap 45 and lap 90 tonight. And I believe the fuel window is going to be between 50 and 60 laps. Yeah, we're coming to the green this time. It's throwback race too, so you're going to see some throwback schemes out here. If I know what they are, I'll try to call them out, but I won't know all of them. All right, here we go. Tucker's bringing them down to the start. Green is out. Tucker got a great jump there. He's going to be clear by, it looks like 3 car lengths going into 1. Everybody trying to single file out. Not a whole lot of grip to be had out here, so you're not trying to go through there too wide. It'll end in a crash. Oh, we got a caution. Not sure if there's any real damage to anybody back here. I believe it's going to be Chad. Yeah, Chad just got a little sideways. Not really sure why that was a caution, but everybody's clean through there. It looks like somebody about 5 or 6 cars up in front of Chad got sideways as well. Just not a whole lot of grip. It's really slick out here. It's a tough track. Everybody's pretty lucky to not have any major damage there. Wow, that could have been big. He almost if he would have overcorrected that to the right, we would have had a big wreck here on the first lap. I don't think we're going to see anybody pit here. They'll be able to get to the stage just fine. And we have limited set of tires here. I'm not sure how many it is tonight. I should have got that information before the race, but not going to waste a set on half a lap, basically. So we'll stack them up and we'll do it again here. Hopefully it's a cleaner start. It was pretty clean for the guys up at the front. Again, this is the SMRI Tilson 200 live from Darlington. C2 Freight, Blue Egg helped put this show on the road. Chad does a lot of leagues. Takes a lot of time out of his life to do all this, so we're thanking him every chance we get. Tucker, I'm not sure what his throwback is, but that's a Jeremy Mayfield throwback on Burrell, second place. Good looking car. Those two, as long as they don't get in any trouble tonight, will probably be players here at the end. This is a full distance race. This is a crown jewel event. I believe this might be the only one on the Xfinity schedule. It was full event in the truck race last night against Scott Crump. Won the truck race last night. Great battle with him and Shane Terrian. The Cup race will be Wednesday night, full distance as well. We're at about a half a lap from the green here. Looks like Tucher's going to take the top. Based on the last restart, he got a great jump. It's what Tucher's hoping for again. Pace car's off. Again, a good jump for Tucher. It looks like Burrell might have spun his tires a little bit there once he tried to go. It's going to be double wide down here. Not like the first start there where everybody was single file. Tucher's got him a nice lead now. Dylan Thomas is now the second place runner. Or no, third place runner. Burrell was able to get back around him in 22. The battle right now is for second, side by side behind him there, entering one. Looks like trapped on the bottom. Just knows you can't carry any speed through 1 and 2 when you're trapped down on the bottom. Looks like he might get back up. We've got a car in the wall back there, the red car. He's going to be okay. Right now, if you're these guys up at the front, you're just trying to save the rear tires, trying not to abuse the front tires. You want to try to get at least through the stage. And we got a caution on the track again. Not sure where it is. Some sort of, oh, that was heavy damage there on the front stretch. Is that Hank? No, it's Tate. Oh, that's such a good looking car for Tate to bring out here. Throwing it back to Kevin Harvick, his championships winning season. Man. Yeah, some netcode, maybe some netcode there. Just, man, you hate to see somebody get wrecked this early. Some people did go through. I'm hearing that, some people are very lucky to have a car still running. Doesn't look like Thomas Sherman is one of them. Man, you hate to see guys get torn up. Tate's a guy that was probably going to be player in this thing at the end, and just to get wrecked out early. I know he got wrecked out early last night as well. Not been a good Darlington for him so far. We got a pitter here. That's probably more so for damage than anything else. Yeah, it doesn't even look like they're jacking the car up, so that's just him trying to get his damage fixed. Not wanting to use up a set of tires right here. Again, with tire limits, you just don't want to burn a set before you have to. You might see them get towards lap 25 or 30 if they get a caution, then they could come and get their tires then, because there's no yellows for the stages tonight. And so there's a chance it could go green for a little while, but they're not going to want to burn a set up this early. Hopefully they get to race a while and we don't spend too much time behind the pace car tonight. So far for Tucher, it's been a good race. He's led all the laps. been able to get away on these starts and restarts and just kind of control the pace that he wants to run. Just these guys at the front just wanting to save some tires. Looks like I'm getting joined here in the booth by Tate Lytle. Hated to see you get wrecked out there early, Tate.
Yeah, 2 nights in a row. Things not of my doing. You know, everyone was taking it pretty easy back there, and I was just trying to pick them off one by one. And I think the 88 got a little bit loose, and then got a little help from netcode there as well. So, but put us in the fence, and I think out of the 294 possible laps between last night and tonight, I probably completed about 20 of them. So hopefully our luck's a little better on Wednesday.
Yeah, the car was looking good too, man. That's a good-looking Kevin Harvick throwback you got there. Hated to see it get torn up.
Oh yeah, always got to represent my Harvick boy, but looks like we got a couple of Pro Edge teammates up there still controlling the race. Hopefully we can get a little bit of a green flag run and see who's made of what here.
Now, of course, I'm not racing tonight, so I don't have any kind of idea. What's the grip level in the track right now?
It's pretty similar to when we raced here in Erska. It's pretty unstable out of 2. I feel like there's a little more grip in 3 and 4 than what I'm used to in these cars the last couple times. But it gets really unsteady on that transition that they're going through kind of right there off of turn 2. But out of 4, I had a lot of grip.
Well, I appreciate you coming up here and joining me. I was all alone tonight, so it's nice to have somebody else up here with me.
Yeah, hopefully I can stay up here the whole time with you. If not, I'll give you my all while I'm up here. But we're coming back down for the restart here. David Tucher, Ethan Burrell definitely working together to see if they can't get separated from the field. Good little countdown, and there they go, launching. Tucher, Burrell, Thomas, Fody. Can't tell who's in 5th there. It looks like Hank. Hank's in 5th, so pretty good top 5 there. Hopefully they can get spread out here and not have any more big crashes that'll slow this race down. As I say that, 56 gets hit. Looks like the 83 spin in, back up the track. Clark's in it, Crump's killed, last night's winner. I think Rucker might have got a piece of that as well. Oh, what a disaster. Crump's done. Crump, he won last night, he's done. Looks like the 83 got in the fence. Got loose, came down into the 56, and looks like that shot him back up into Crump. Hard contact for both of them there, and then Clark had nowhere to go. Key got a piece of that. Daniel Dye got a piece of that. Daniel Dye got a big piece of that. He's going to be done too, at least of any chance of winning. Clark might be okay. We'll have to see how hard Rucker hits him here. Rucker's in that, I think it's 2002 Matt Kenseth DeWalt throwback. Good looking paint scheme. A lot of good looking paint schemes out here. It's a shame so many ever getting tore up so fast here, because you can tell a lot of people put a lot of time into these paint schemes.
I think Rucker's got some pretty good damage there late. He hit the 90 in the door pretty good. But I think he would have been okay if he wouldn't have done that. He was laying it up against the wall. The McDonald's car that was back behind him was doing the same thing that he was doing.
Yeah, I think the 83 is going to have some pretty serious damage. Obviously, Scott Crump, the 90, that's unfortunate because he was really, really fast last night and was putting down some really good laps in practice as well. I think he would have been a force to be reckoned with had this thing been able to go green, but here we are, back under yellow.
I think the Pettis Cup is going to lead the most laps tonight.
Yeah, so far he's looking pretty good. Who out of these top 5 do you think is kind of gonna? Who do you think out of the top 5 is gonna be able to give this thing a run for the checkered flag as we come down to it here, Chris?
Man, I don't know. It's going to be tough to beat those 2 guys on the front row, I think. But Fody was so good. Like, everybody knows who's tuned in. I mean, Fody's average finish all of A season in the Xfinity car was 2-point-something. So, I mean, you can't count Fody out, but those 2 guys on the front row, man, Tucher and Burrell are pretty stout everywhere as well.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see how Tucher does managing that right rear. He's kind of like me. He likes to really... Ethan, too. Just not quite as bad as me and Tucher, really wearing that right rear out more than others. So we'll see how he does on the long run. I'm looking back there at the 56 car. I know, real original, picking out the car that I would normally drive, but Garrison Hogan's been really strong so far this season, and I would not be shocked if we see him pull that car in a victory lane again.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, that I hit on when we were in the parade lap that didn't get a lap. And so I was just wondering what the grip level was out there for qualifying earlier and how they didn't get a lap. I mean, I think it was Josh Robin, Josh Adams. There's a couple others back there who I thought would be players tonight that didn't even get a lap time in qualifying.
Yeah, I had a really good lap going on my second lap, and it would have put me on pole, but I just barely nicked the wall out of turn 4. Didn't count my lap. Had to start 30th, and we saw how that ended for me. So luckily we got that win last week. Don't have to worry about making it into the playoffs so long as we can make enough races. But
yeah, it was Matthew Weeks. That was one who didn't get a time. So right now, sitting 17th and 18th is Weeks and Adams, and they both started 35th and 38th. So they have came from a long ways back, dodging these wrecks, and made their way into the top 20.
yeah, and I've been racing with both those guys for a long time, and this is both of their probably one of their best tracks. I know this is Weeks. This is his favorite track by a lot. I'm not sure how Adams feels about it, but I know he's very fast here. He's beaten me out a couple times at this track, so I know he's got plenty of speed. I mean, as long as they can make it through this hornet's nest, I think they'll both be top 5 contenders at least.
Yeah, and so far that's proven to be difficult, is to miss these wrecks, especially like the last one when they start up towards, the top 10. It's just, so hard to dodge everything. Looks like we will be going green this time. Tucher taking the bottom. We've seen Tucher take the bottom and the top. Is there any preference when you're the leader on what lane to take?
When you got a teammate, it doesn't matter at all. I think as long as his teammates there, I think the bottom's fine. But if I were them, I'd definitely take the top if it wasn't. As you see Tucher get a crazy good launch with that JD Designs Monster Energy Toyota Supra. Back down into turn 1. We'll see if the field can make it through alive again. As you see the 56 making a bold move on the outside of the 63.
I believe that 63 is a throwback to Bobby Hamilton Jr., if I'm correct.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. He won a lot of races back in the early 2000s. We got Vincent Isabella and that Kurt Busch Sharpie throwback, number 28. Another good-looking paint scheme. Just got to give props to all these designers. You got JD Designs, Brian Lutz Designs, Harpoon Designs, among countless others that I'm forgetting for sure. But I mean, a lot of hours put in to make this race look the way it does. And
yeah, everybody did a great job with the paint schemes. They look great out here. Looks like we got a Jimmy Spencer throwback there on the 69.
Yeah, we got a Jeff Green throwback on the 40, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to race here for the spot.
Yeah, we'll see what Fody does here. He's a pretty smart racer. I think would not be surprised if he just lets Fern go here. It's really hard to pass in these cars, and that's where we're going to see a lot of the accidents happen tonight. Fody not willing to give him that spot, though. It doesn't look like Fern tries to clear himself, and he will there. Dylan Thomas going to take a look at going into turn 1.
Yeah, right about now, Fody's wishing he would have just let him go into 3, because he would only have lost the 1 spot instead of 2.
Yeah, knowing Fody, though, he's going to let those guys go play a little bit. He'll see him in 20 laps. He's really good at saving his tires. We see the 37 kind of closing back down on the 19. The 37 won on this racetrack in Erska just a couple 5-6 weeks ago in a very similar setup. So I would not be shocked to see the 37 park himself in victory lane.
Yeah, these guys up here at the front, they're so good across, like you said, Erska and Elite. And I mean, these guys are just really fast everywhere.
As we see the field kind of getting spread out a little bit. David Tucher, Northern California driver. Just spent his last weekend driving some Mazda Miatas. I think it's, I don't know if it's Miatas or not, but some Mazdas nonetheless out at Sonoma Raceway. So getting himself a little bit of real world experience. Ethan Burrell behind him, racing out of the Washington State. So we got guys spread out all over the place. Colin Fern in 30 is out in North Carolina, works for Brandonbuilt Motorsports on his weekends and races in Elite Racing League on the weekdays. So cool the how far and wide Elite really covers here in the United States.
Yeah, and if you want to follow Brandon Brown and their stuff, he's a great follow on Twitter. Talked about their issue they had on Sunday. You know, they had a great run going Sunday and had a fuel pickup issue.
Yeah, they were looking pretty stout out front. Chevy Power was doing them well. See, Tucher kind of running that bottom line. I think that'll serve him well in the long run, kind of using a little bit more of that right front as opposed to the right rear there off that corner. Looks like they're all kind of venturing a little lower in 3 and 4. Running the wall generally is the way to go in turns 3 and 4, but the penalty for getting into the wall, that's how I got taken out last night, is the truck in front of me hit the wall and it just slows you down so much I had nowhere to go. It just plowed right in the back of him and that was the end of the night. So the penalty for hitting the wall is pretty severe. I mean, it's going to cost you a couple seconds.
My theory when it comes to Darlington is don't run up there until it's time. Like, especially these full distance races like this, it doesn't pay anything to run up there at lap 25. You know, you got to make sure the car's there if you want to try to win the race.
For sure, as we see this top 6 kind of bunching back up. Colin Fern's ran to the back bumper, the 37, the 03 on the back bumper of Colin Fern. So Josh Adams looks like he's still running back in 18th position, not quite able to make a run toward the front so far this run. Not sure.
Yeah, a lot of these guys at the front I think are going to be content to ride, but if I know anything about Colin Fern, he wants to lead. That guy, you know, he's fast, he wants to get up there, and he wants to try to put that car out front and lead as much as he can.
Another car I'm keeping an eye on, I know I touched on this earlier already, it's a 56 car back in 7th place. Just kind of riding back there, probably saving some tire. These guys get to race, and I would not be surprised to see him pass them all pretty quickly. As Fern's looking to the bottom, I'm going to think better of it.
Chad's came from a long way back this run as well. He was, you know, I believe the first spin was him.
Ooh, as you see him almost door Brandon Key there. Brandon Key's not going to give him an inch. I don't know why he wouldn't. Be door to door off turn 3 and 4. That's a dangerous spot. If I'm Brandon Key, I'm letting the 15 go here. There's no sense in racing him here. And he will do that. Barry.
Wow.
Oh man. As we got a caution on the speedway. It looks to be the 24 car once again.
He's just sitting there stopped.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Sounds like they're saying he just showed up out of nowhere. Well, now this is interesting. You're 30 laps in, Tate. What are you thinking for tires? I know you don't want to burn a set early.
Well, you got 6 sets, so I'm pitting 100% of the time right here. Too much of a penalty to not, I believe. I'm coming down. I'm taking 4 tires. I'm taking a full tank of gas, and we're headed back out there. I'd be shocked if someone didn't do that with the amount of tires they have. And I think if someone doesn't do that, they're going to be in a world of trouble. So look for all drivers to come down, take 4 tires, and a full tank of gas.
If you do stay out there, you're hoping to keep at least 7 or 8 guys out there with you. At least get you a buffer if you're the leader that stays out.
I mean, if there's 10 to go, I'd say yeah, but I don't think that's going to be a thing. These guys that are staying out are...
I mean, we've
hopefully
got staying out, and we've got, I believe that's 26 or 28 staying out.
That's
not enough.
the most.
Enough.
I mean, it doesn't matter how many cars you put out there; it's not going to be enough. It's going to be really dangerous for them as the field's flying by them on much fresher tires. They're going to have 29 laps less gas than the rest of the field, so they're gonna have to pit a lot earlier, which could spell trouble as well. You're getting the track position, but I can't imagine you're gonna have that track position for very long. So I don't understand this one very much, but we'll see how it plays out as David Tucher and Ethan Burrell are gonna win the race off pit road once again, and they'll slot back into 4th and 5th, I believe.
I personally wouldn't hate this if there was three, 4 more. Because I think if there's 3 or 4 more, yeah, you're probably not winning the stage and you're going to take a hit. But by the time they get to you, they're already a little bit strung out. But they're going to be all over them in the first turn.
No, I mean, I would not be shocked if one of them don't end up wrecked here, just because, not because they are bad drivers, just because they're going to have the worst tires on the track by a lot. And a track like Darlington, tires are so important. I just don't understand this at all. I think they're in for a world of trouble here, and maybe it'll pay off toward the end of the race if they have an extra set of tires, but I don't foresee that being a thing.
Chad might have used a set when he spun, but I remember him coming over and saying that he didn't hurt him and he didn't use it. So Chad still has not used a set, and he had driven back up to 12th or 13th before that caution. So it's not like he had used the set and had to drop it here.
Yeah,
I'm not real sure what Chad's call here. It looks like Josh Adams is going to be trapped a lap down. I'm not sure if he was fixing damage or what.
Yeah, I was wondering why he was still back there in 18th. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a little bit of damage, because he's the guy that would generally be up there running up front. So hopefully he can get that lap back here soon and go challenge for the lead. But yeah, it looks like 56 of Garrison Hogan fell back to 23rd in that exchange. I don't know if he drove by his pit box or what happened, but be fun to watch him come back through the field as well. Yeah, this will be a very interesting restart for you guys watching the race at home. Got the top 3 out here on old tires, and the field behind them on 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. If it was Daytona, I'd say they'll be fine, but this is about as far from that as you can get, so.
All right, I just spoke to Josh. He said he had 51 seconds of damage from the last restart, and that's what he was fixing there.
Copy that. Yeah, that'll explain why he was kind of stalemated back there in 18th position. Hopefully he got that fixed and he's able to be competitive the rest of the race. But we'll see how this restart goes. Tire spin was an issue even on fresh tires. So if one of these top 3 get to the gas a little too hard coming to the line, could spell disaster for not only them, but for a pile of cars behind them.
Yeah, if I'm one of these guys that has been in the top 5 all race and these guys stayed out, I'm just hoping not to get my car wadded up right here.
Yeah, I think the most scared person in the field right now is probably the 37 of Ethan Burrell. He's sitting down there behind 2 cars with the old tires, but come down to the restart zone here. 28 launches, 19 clearly a better launch. Everyone does pretty good so far. The 19 is going to be in a really good spot here off of turn 2 to go get himself the lead back.
The A car just gave up there going into 1. He's not even trying to be up there.
Yeah, he must really just
sure that strategy.
Must really be banking on that extra set. But Vincent Isabella holding pretty strong out front, but stronger than I would have anticipated. Chad's kind of getting eaten up by this first pack, but so far so good for the 28 out there. Tucher's going to get a really good run off of turn 4, though he's going to have to concede this lead, but I mean, I thought it was going to be more of a disadvantage than it's turning out to be, so as he hits the wall.
Yeah, that's just once they jump on you, like the second place guy, the third place, they were all trying to pass him right there and puts him in a spot now.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be at a disadvantage now because that was a pretty rough lick to the wall. Pinching the 40 car down. 40's going to get a run. We'll see if he can keep it down there. Ooh, close between those guys, and the 15 is going to try and dive low. That's going to put 2 cars on old tires side by side. That's really going to jumble up this field behind him.
Yeah, if you're stuck behind him now, you're losing a lot of time, and you know it.
We got Chad on Chad, Thornquist and Frankenfield battling back there. Dylan Thomas going to maybe make a move on Thornquist. Chad to the bottom, Thornquist to the top. Thornquist's going to put his nose there. Chad tried to squeeze him out of it, but 92 is going to have the advantage off turn 4. He's going to get that spot. Dylan Thomas going to follow suit as we got a battle for second. Ethan Burrell on Colin Fern. Squeeze, that's tight. He's going to get him. That's racing at Darlington right there. You don't got room, make room. Ethan Burrell up to second.
These guys are just jammed up behind Chad and Vincent. Like these guys are all over each other.
And I mean, you know this as well as I do. Chad and Vincent are two of the toughest guys to pass anyway. And it just makes it that much more frustrating when they're on a little bit older tires, making it difficult on you. But yeah, we'll see. A, we'll see how long this run is, and B, we'll see where they end up by the end of this run.
Yeah, they got to be hoping for a lot of cautions later to be able to use the set of tires that is saved. I mean, so far we've had a bunch of cautions, so I mean they're betting on it staying the same at the end. But a lot of times in these races, you know, people fall out of the race, and by the end, you know, usually the people that are out there aren't bringing out cautions.
Yeah, I mean, we only got 100 to go, and we got 5 more sets of, 110 to go, 5 more sets in the pits. I'm not too worried about tires. That's just a little over than 20, little more than 20 laps per set as Ethan Burrell's slowly closing in on David Tucher, who I believe has led every lap of the race so far, with the exception of those couple at the caution when those guys stayed out.
I think Vincent has hurt his car. He's fallen behind Chad, and he's looking a little bit slow in the straightaways.
I mean, that was a tough lick. That's definitely going to slow his car down as Colin Fern gets really loose out of 2, able to save it.
Brandon Key just got completely sideways in turn 1 and 2. I'm not sure how the iRacing did not throw a caution for that after what we saw out of Chad on the first lap.
Well, I'm glad it didn't, because I'm looking forward to seeing a long run.
Oh,
Another car to point. We got a wreck behind him.
I believe that was the junior throwback. Is that the senior throwback caught up in it as well?
Yeah, that's Trey Holmes going all around the outside of Andrew Rucker. Cleared himself on Rucker, gets turned. Gerald Campbell.
I would try to clear myself on.
Campbell makes a nice move to miss. Clark makes a nice move to miss. Vincent Isabella on those old tires just has nowhere to go. And we've got Scott Haney piling himself into it. We'll have to see how he.
Senior throwback. I think is that a Johnson throwback on a 3 car?
Yeah, it's a little interesting. I'd like to see how he managed to get his nose in that. He must have got some help to be that far down off the track to be involved in that accident. Yeah, that's unfortunate for Holmes and Isabella. I mean, that's the risk you take taking those old tires. It really just puts you back there in the pack. Had he taken fresh tires, he would have not been in that position. So, but the tough call here, this is a tough call. I think a lot of these guys are going to stay out here. I think they didn't have quite as many laps on this set of tires. So if I'm in the race, I'm staying out on this caution and coming in on the next one, as long as we have another 5 to 10 lap run.
Yeah, but those guys that stayed out, we see them pitting here.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have fresh tires by 10 laps, but they're going to be back in 28th, 29th, and 30th. So, again, I don't understand that strategy call. Getting off sequence is sometimes nice, but it just puts you in really bad positions. You know, sometimes you're on much faster tires, and you got to work your way around everybody, which is not easy at a track this tight. And when you have older tires, everyone's trying to work their way around you, and it just puts yourself in a bad spot. Sometimes it works out for you. You know, sometimes you have that extra set, and you're able to make it work to your advantage at the end of the race. But more times than not, it just gets yourself in trouble.
Yeah, and it looks like Josh Adams is going to get his lap back here with his Mark Martin throwback. But yeah, I mean, it just, you know, getting off sequence, and we won't know if getting off sequence here. Pretty much with Chad, those other guys, you know, Vincent ended up in that wreck, and he put himself in the wall, and that car's pretty tore up. But if Chad can stay clean, we won't know until the end of this race if this was a good call or not. Right now, it doesn't look like it was a good call, especially being the only guy that, if you're the only guy with tires, even if it's a green-white checkered at the end, you're not going to pass everybody on your new tires.
No. No, this isn't Auto Club. This isn't Daytona. This isn't Michigan. You don't have that kind of room. The most, I mean, if you go more than too wide is sketchy at this racetrack. If you go more than that, it's over. So, I mean, it's not like you're able to make those bold moves like you would at Talladega or a Michigan or an Auto Club and make a lane for yourself. It's going to take you some time to get through the field, even if you're a second faster than everybody. Yeah, I don't get it, but we'll see. I think they'll be able to recover a little bit here on this next run and get themselves back on sequence with these leaders and put their name in the hat for this win. As I think I see the 29 car of Trevor Elam's made his way into the top 10, followed by Garrison Hogan, who fell back to 23rd on the last pit stop. So props to those two making up some ground. Trevor's been running really well this season. I think he got wrecked out last week at Texas after a pretty strong run. So hopefully he can finish a race here and get himself some valuable points.
And one thing we haven't talked about here is this is the SMRI Tilson 200 live from Darlington. We're going to have a one-lap shootout to the stage here. And these guys, they're well aware of the stage points being handed out in the lap. Do you expect to see anything crazy here? Are the teammates still going to work together? What do you anticipate we see in this one lap?
I think the teammates will still work together. Hopefully the field realizes that 1 point is not worth wrecking for, and keeps it calm. But I've seen it time and time again. It's not always how it works out. So I imagine the teammates will still work together. I would be shocked if David Tucher doesn't walk away with the playoff point. But it's what happens behind him around the tail end of those positions that will pay out points.
Yeah, we know Colin likes to be aggressive. So being third here, do you think I could see him really trying something as we're getting ready to go green here.
I think Tucher's going to get too good of a launch here. It's going to be too tough for the 69 to keep up with him unless he times it perfect. But he's right on him right there. As Tucher launches, Burrell right behind him.
Back here, the 68, we have a wheel spin wreck here.
Keep
the
it going.
56 is sideways halfway down the front stretch. Are we going to stay green? We do. What a crazy, that really spread out the field too.
Yeah, 56 gonna have to make his way back through the field. We'll see if Burrell throws it down to the bottom here for this playoff point. That's really the only point that matters to a lot of these guys. But Tucher looks like he's going to get the drive off turn 4. He's going to win stage 1. Followed by Burrell, Fern, Fody, and Steinmiller. All right, I want to see this thing go green the rest of the way. Let's see some long green flag runs. Let's see who really brought the speed to the track.
I want to see $1 million show up at my door, but I don't think I'm going to get it.
Yeah, that would be nice. I also don't think you'll be getting that, but dreamers can dream. As Fern's trying to work on Ethan Burrell for that second place, kind of loses his momentum off turn 4. Fody gets a run on him. Fody's another guy that kind of just seems like he's biding his time. Obviously has some speed. He's one of the most talented guys in this field. See what he can do with this as the race comes down to it, as we're coming to 100 laps to go at the line. Still not even quite a third of the way through this thing.
Yeah, we're only 47 laps in, and I think most of the field's already pretty tore up back through there, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, we know that coming to Darlington, if you're able to keep your nose clean, you're probably going to have a pretty good chance at it. 69 really working that wheel. He looks like he's driving a lot harder than a lot of these guys. We'll see how that plays out as he drives it to the bottom. He's hooking that bottom pretty good on entry. He just kind of kills him on exit. So you see him kind of slide up, almost get himself into the fence.
Yeah,
Steinmiller working on
Fern's going to give it all he's got every lap. He's not going to leave anything on the table.
Yep, that's his biggest strength, and that is his biggest weakness. He leaves nothing out there. Trevor Elam thinking about making a move on Steinmiller. Steinmiller following Fody pretty closely. Teammates over at Lake Norman Motorsports.
Yeah, these front, 7? They've got a big gap over everybody else because of where, I'm guessing that's right about where that restart crash was. We just didn't get a caution.
Fern got really loose. Fody almost gets to the wall trying to get around him. Steinmiller's going to try to poke his nose on the outside of Fern as well. He's going to try to cross over. And as these guys are messing around back there, these two Pro Edge Racing teammates are scooting away.
We got
Trevor,
a yellow.
Yellow on the racetrack. We'll see where it is.
Was that long enough for you to pit right here?
Yeah, I'd probably pit.
I mean, we got Chad's driven back up to 11th on his new tires.
Oh, big crash.
Come back.
Big crash. Got the 86 of Ethan Riesener. Happens in front of him, though. Who is that? Is that, can't hardly tell who's in that gray car with the yellow numbers, but he spins.
The 36.
And comes up the racetrack and just cleans out the 86.
Oh, the 68. Oh, man.
John Bauer just has nowhere to go, along with the Dr. Pepper machine of Casey Hatch, who once again cleans out Ethan Riesener. That poor guy, he 2 hard licks, neither of his doing. That'll probably spell the end of his
68 though, because he was spinning down the front stretch, and then he got caught up in that wreck too. So
yeah,
he goes from running 7th. He was going to restart 7th to wrecking on the front stretch, and then that wreck right there is probably going to give him some pretty bad damage he'll have to finish the rest of the race with.
Yeah, that's what happens around here at Darlington.
It looks like we had a bigger group stay out this time.
That'll be interesting. As the leaders come off pit road, no big changes at the front of the field, it doesn't look like. I'll be interested to see how many cars and which cars stayed out, because
it looks
that
like
makes a big difference too.
Chad's the leader. Of course, he's off cycle though. Chad is basically pitting when these guys aren't.
Yeah, I mean, that caution worked out pretty good for Chad. I think he'll be able to, as long as he has a couple cars behind him, which it looks like he does. He's got Josh Clark in the 82 Supra. Robin in the 8. He's on the same cycle as Chad, the 44 car of Michael Goodman, and it's the 95 of Josh Adams, making a little strategy call to get himself some track positions. So all in all, I mean, that's a pretty good group up there. I see, looks like Tucher came out in 6th. But I mean, we get another 10-lap run and a caution, and these guys will all come back down pit road, and everyone else will stay out, and it's just going to be a constant cycle, and we'll see who comes out on the leading end of that in about a 94 laps time.
This reminds me of like an early to mid 2000s short track race at like Bristol or Martinsville, where guys are pitting every caution, and it's just a different group.
Yeah, I don't remember much of the early 2000s, but glad someone in here does, Chris.
That's the first old joke I've heard thrown my way. More coming.
Oh yeah, I don't think it gets better from here.
I remember a race that John Andretti won in like 98 or 99 at Martinsville by being the only guy on a certain strategy, and he was able to get in front of Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon. So maybe Chad can pull it off. Chad pulls it off, gets in front of these guys that might have a little more speed. It's pretty hard to pass around here. And we know how hard Chad is to pass when he wants to be.
Yeah, he makes it pretty difficult sometimes. Another guy that's had some tough luck this season is that 82 car, Josh Clark. We just saw him get involved in that last caution, so we'll see. He obviously put tires on in the last caution as well, but he's got a little bit of rear damage. We'll see how much that affects him. The 44, good looking paint scheme there, Michael Goodman.
Yeah, I'm not sure what driver he was thrown back to, but I'm going to say that's Jerry Nadeau. He drove that car at Sonoma in 02, almost won the race. So that's a good-looking car, and it's clean right now. Hopefully he can keep it that way.
Yeah, I'm most nervous for Tucher right now. He's clearly got one of the fastest cars, but it's just going to be tough every other caution having to drive through this group that is on the different strategy. I think the most beneficial on this strategy is Josh Adams getting himself a little bit of track position. I don't know what he looks like tire-wise, but as long as he has a similar amount as those guys in front or behind him, I think this is a great call to get him a little bit of track position.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. And right before we go green here, I want to shout out the 8 car and throw him back to the Ricky Craven ride while he's up here. Don't want to try to miss anybody. As the green is out and Chad is gone.
Chad got a good launch there. I think Robbins will be able to follow suit and get second place from Clark headed into 1. Tucher to the bottom is going to work. Got those two right side by side. Hopefully everyone's patient behind him. Tucher to the bottom of Goodman. Goodman gets a little loose. So you see everyone kind of snake their way down the back stretch. We got a battle for the lead. Josh Robin making a move on Chad Frankenfield on the bottom. Frankenfield hooks the top pretty well and is going to hold him off. So we got 2x2x2 there further back in the field. Michael Goodman and a couple others.
One thing I want to hit on the pit stop, looks like Fern lost quite a bit of spots on pit road. Not sure what happened there, but he's not with these front running guys anymore. Oh, we got an accident here off of 2.
Gerald Campbell, Dylan Thomas, and one other. Matthew Weeks. Oh, man.
No yellow for this either. We are still green.
Still green. Wowzers. All right, still green. Terrible luck for those guys. Matthew Weeks, this is one of his favorite tracks, and it just never ceases to amaze me how many times he gets taken out of his own doing here.
And we've seen Dylan Thomas run in the top 3 or 4 most of this race.
Yeah, another guy that's super aggressive is looks like he's already making 3 wide on those 2 lap cars in turn 1 before we panned away. Don't see any caution on the racetrack, so it looks like he made it through cleanly. But
and the guys who love this are the guys that stayed out. You're talking about Chad, you're talking about Adams. These guys are loving this because now there's nobody really breathing down their neck. They're able to run their pace and hope that the tires equalize later and maybe stay in the top 10 at this point.
Oh, I think they're set to stay in the top 10. I'd be shocked if they're not. The way this thing's kind of spread out, unless they really wear their tires off, which is not really, especially Robin, not really what he's known for. Chad's pretty good, but Robin's one of the best. I think Tucher and Ethan will probably make pretty quick work of the 2 of them, but as the run goes on, the tires will get closer and closer to one another, making it harder for cars to pass them. But Ethan and Tucher not making as quick a work as I may have thought they would, though. Also, maybe just saving some of their stuff because you don't want to overdrive it and not have anything to work with once you get to them. So working their way up turn 4.
They'll make quick work of the state car, but I think he'll fall in line behind him and be okay. Chad can make this difficult when they get to him if he wants. I believe that's a throwback to Randy LaJoy that Chad is driving. So he could make this difficult and kind of drive like the guy he's throwing back to, or he could just make it real easy like we're seeing the 8 car do here. Just pull over and say, hey, look, that restart, that broke my way. I can sit in this gap, and maybe we run 10 more laps and everybody pits.
Yeah, that's one of the smartest things Robin could have done there, because racing those guys not only going to wear your tires out more, but it's just going to put you in harm's way more. So slotting into 4th into that big gap that was behind these guys, I think will pay dividends to him. Hopefully he's able to hold that group off a little longer. But Tucher is going to get a really good run on the 15 here down the backstretch. I don't think he'll have quite enough of a run to make anything happen into turn 3, but would not be shocked if he's got something to work with down the front stretch. Running a little bit lower than Chad through the center of the corner. He's going to have a run off of turn 4. Chad a little loose. Still not quite close enough. I think he's going to bide his time here, be patient.
If I'm Chad, I get out of the way like the 8 car did, man. I don't know if I race these guys.
Yeah, well, Chad is not going to do that. So, Tucher looked like he got a little too high in the center of 1 and 2 there. He's going to have to regroup and try and make it happen down the backstretch next time, unless he's able to get a really good run here, which kind of like the last lap looks like. You can have a really good run, just not quite enough of a run to make anything happen, as it looks like they're closing out on a little bit of lap traffic, which could make things interesting as well. Lapping cars here at Darlington is not as easy as one would think it would be. Tucher gets a really good run off turn 2. He's going to dive low here. Chad is not going to give this to him, though, so he is going to have to earn it.
Yeah, if you're Chad at this point, every lap you're able to keep him back there. The tires are a little bit closer and a little bit closer.
Yeah, this is working out for Chad right now. Burrell has a good run on Tucher. He's going to slot in line though and let the 19 do the dirty work. The 19's going to have another really good run off turn 2. He just getting a little too high in the middle of 1 and 2 there. He can't quite arc it down. It gets kind of loose though if you try and put too much wheel into it. He's going to try the bottom again though here in 3. They're getting closer to that 42 car. They're going to be door to door, side by side for the lead down the front stretch here on lap 64. Burrell going to try and push the 19. The 19's going to stay there. This could spell
Heads up by that lap car. He just pulled down and got out of the way. He knew they were racing for the lead. Heads up for that guy.
Yeah, Tucher dives to the bottom off of 2. That's a dangerous spot to make a pass. Gets loose. That's going to open the door for the 37. And don't look now. Here comes the 40 car of Tyler Fody. And Tyler Fody is not afraid to put the bumper to the 15 car. The 15 car making this very difficult. And if he's not careful, he's going to find himself in the fence because that's just how this racing works. If you hold a guy up long enough on a track that's this tight, they're going to run you closer and closer and closer with each lap until they finally get into you.
And another car joining this party that, 37 and 19 are teammates. They can kind of sit there and try to let each other race for this lead. Fody is not going to do that. He's not a teammate with these two. He's going to put the pressure on Burrell here to make something happen or let him go.
Yeah, Tucher's going to give the bumper here. They're going to have to work their way around the 90. Tucher's going to have another good run here. If Chad's really playing with fire here. If he's not careful, he's going to get himself wrecked. As he finally concedes the lead to the 19 car, 37 is going to follow suit. And the Lake Norman cars of Tyler Fody and Hank Steinmiller are right there with probably going to be a little bit better tires just because they haven't been battling Chad this entire time. Chad's tires are really starting to show though. Starting to fall off. I think in another 10 to 15 laps though, he should even out quite a bit. But if he keeps making it this hard on these guys, he's, like I said, playing with fire. You try and go too wide through turn 1 like that too many times, you're going to find yourself in the turn 1 fence.
Yeah, eventually these guys on the inside are going to say, you want to be there. 8 tires are better than 4 when you get down there.
Yeah, my rule of thumb here, and I've used it in the Oscar Truck Series here a couple weeks ago, super difficult to pass. If I get to the bottom of you once and you don't give it to me, I'll back out. Twice, don't give it to me, I'll back out. But third time, I'm standing my ground, and if you get wrecked because of it, it's not my fault. So, hey, Chad's really got to be careful. He races everyone hard enough as it is for the most part. So
I think
guys,
Chad has hurt himself here too. Look at you got the 8 right behind him now. The 8's going to give up another spot. And by doing this, the 8's taking care of his tires a little better than Chad. Chad's racing all these guys. I think eventually, if it stays green, Chad will give up the spot to the 8 just by the fact of him just driving really hard.
Yeah, and Josh is one of the best at saving tires anyways. We got Trevor Elam making a move on the bottom of Chad Thornquist. Trevor Elam, been in the league a year or two here in Elite. Arguably one of the most improved drivers in Elite the last couple of seasons. He's went from a guy running 25th to 30th to now a guy that, I mean, he had winning pace last week at Texas, and it looks like he's got pretty solid top 6-7 pace here at Darlington. So shout out to Trevor for keep grinding away at it, and the results will come. As another car shouted him out a couple times already. The 56 car of Garrison Hogan making his way back up here to the field. He was 23rd after that second to last caution.
Yeah, he was the guy that we saw get way sideways. And these guys that stayed out, like Chad and Josh, they've hung on. But we're looking here at Josh Adams. I'm not sure what has happened to him, but he is 22nd, half a lap down. So he's caught something somewhere where, he's dropped off of these other guys that have stayed out.
Well, and for those that don't know, iRacing has a damage model where when you hit something, it gives you an allotted amount of time that you have to sit on pit road to fix it. But even if you sit there, say you have 50 seconds like Josh Adams, even if you sit there for that 50 seconds, it does not fix your car completely. You're still going to have a little bit of permanent damage from whatever it was that you hit. So I think the mix of having a little bit older tires, as we see Burrell make a move for the lead, and Tucher will concede it to him. New leader, the 37 Mobil 1 Toyota Supra of Ethan Burrell, as they'll make their way around. Looks like another Jeff Green throwback of Dustin Dewar in the number 32.
Lots of Jeff Green love in here.
Oh yeah. Well, when you race with the guy twice a week, you learn to love him.
A little update on people who are fans of Jeff. He is running in the 12th spot. Just had a quiet night, staying out of trouble.
Yeah, as we saw Tucher get the wall a little bit in turns 2, that slowed him down a little bit. Hank Steinmiller making a move. I believe he won the Southern 500. I don't think it was last year, maybe the year before.
I think what we're seeing here out of Tucker is he raced Chad really hard, and Ethan sat there and let him be the guy that made the hole. And Tucker might have used up his tires a little bit this run.
Yeah, Tucher did the dirty work, and Ethan just kind of sat there and bided his time watching those guys battle. And Tucher's it's pretty noticeable right now with Tucher's pace. Still not bad pace, just not as good as the 37 or the 63.
Yeah, because, I mean, he was just past, 2 laps ago, and look at the gap already that Ethan has opened up.
Yeah, well, he got on the fence 2 laps ago in turns 2, and like I said, the fence really sucks you in. It takes a lot of speed out of the car, so that kind of played into it a little bit, but definitely losing some time to the 37 as the 37's lapping the 68 Brandon-built Motorsports machine of John Bauer.
Now, we're looking at about 15 laps to the end of the stage, and do you think that these guys that stayed out on the last yellow have the fuel to get there? And if you are sitting in second place as Tucker, are you going to race this guy to try to hold him up for your teammate as he lets him go? So he's not. He's not even thinking about trying to help his teammate win the stage. That's his job. He's just trying to get there.
Yeah, I think Tucker has enough trust in Ethan to be able to hold him off himself. As that got kind of tight off turn 2.
Yeah,
15 to go. I think everyone should be fine on gas. Whether they have the tires to stay in the points might be another question. But Tyler Fody going to be the next suspect on David Tucher's list here.
Yeah, based on the numbers I'm seeing, I think it's a one-stop race for everybody if it stays green. It looks like the car that I'm looking at can go about 35, 38 more laps, and he stayed out on the last yellow. So I'd say it's a one-stop race for everybody from here if it stays green.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think these guys will probably wait until about. I mean, if I were them, I'd run this thing out of gas if it goes green, just to take the chance of catching a bad yellow out. I mean, you can still catch a bad yellow and find yourself back in the pack a little bit, but at least you won't be a lap down. As Ethan Burrell still gapping those guys, not as much as he was 2 or 3 laps ago, but put another 10th on Hank Steinmiller there on that last lap.
Yeah,
like I said,
the numbers I'm seeing, the pit window to make the final stop, if you wanted a short pit, it opens at about 10 laps. Do you think we'll see anybody try to short pit that quick and just hope that maybe there's a caution later after everybody else pits?
I mean, I think we'll see someone try it. I don't think it'll work out in their favor. I mean, I guess it could. If they're back in 20th, I mean, what do you have to lose anyway? You might as well. If I'm Josh Adams, why wouldn't I? But if I'm one of these top 2 or 3 cars, I'm not taking that chance.
What about Chad in 5th on a tire disadvantage? Do you even have that thought about short pitting, or do you just sit here and run in the top 10 and say we're going to try to take this and hopefully we get to stack them up later?
I don't think that's how Chad looks at the races. I think he's looking to try and win with his strategy. I do think Chad will pit a little early. I think he'll wait for the stage. I'm not sure. I assume they're paying out 10 spots. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I assume they are.
I'm not either, but I think for these crown jewels, they are going to pay him out for the top 10.
So long as he's still in the points here, I think he'll stay out as we see Garrison Hogan get by the 15 at Chad Frankenfield and put himself into the top 5 for the first time in quite a few laps. Tyler Fody has not been able to get too far away from David Tucher as they're lapping the 14 machine of Casey Hatch.
Now, let's say you're one of these guys that pitted on the last yellow. It looks like you only need 20, 25 laps of fuel, so that's 1 can. Do you even go there for 2 tires either on this last stop?
No, I'm taking 4 tires no matter what. Yeah, it might save you that 5 seconds, but you'll gain that 5 seconds on the track with those tires. And if we had a caution and you needed to stay out, if you're on 2 tires, everyone else was on 4, your car is it's already loose on the restarts. Your car is gonna be even looser, so it's gonna be that much more difficult for you to hold your ground. So I think at a track like this, it's 4 tires every time.
I just want to point out, I agree with you. I just had to bring that up just in case we see somebody do it. People
Right.
understand why they're doing it, what they're
Yeah.
expecting out of it.
I mean, someone might do it. If I was still in the race, I'd pit probably with about 40 to go. If my fuel tank could last that long, and I might leave a little bit of fuel out of it just to try and keep that weight out of the rear end and plant the front end a little bit better. But definitely taking 4 tires.
Yeah, I agree. When I pit, I'm taking 4 as well, and just gonna see what happens. Depending on where I'm running, would depend on where I
For
pit
which
it. Like
teammates?
if I'm Josh, I'm pitting as soon as it opens, because you're not getting stage points in 20th. But if I'm at the front, if I'm Tucker or if I'm Ethan, I'm gonna run pretty. Especially Ethan, he's got a gap now. You can run and wait for everybody to pit.
Yeah, I'd definitely go a lap longer if I was Ethan. Garrison Hogan up to 4th position and running some very competitive lap times. Not sure exactly how they stack up with the leader, but he's definitely running faster than these couple cars in front of him. So
I believe he passed Tucker last lap, but it looks like he got beat by about 0.3 of a second making that pass.
okay.
I think Tucker might have just hit the wall a little bit.
Looks like Scott Crump trying to make his way to pit road, almost got into Hank Steinmiller. Steinmiller's gonna have to compromise his corner entry a little bit there. As Chad has gotten back by David Tucher. So
Yeah,
David
Tucker hit the wall last time he wanted to. He got up in the wall a little bit.
Okay.
I think those tires are going on that thing. Him fighting with Chad there early. Somehow Chad's got a little bit more tire life now than Tucker.
I think the couple trips on the wall is probably taking a lot of the speed out of the 19, which is unfortunate with how many laps he's led in this race so far. But Ethan Burrell looking pretty strong out front. One of Elite's best and a very good looking. I don't know which driver specifically he's throwing back to, but kind of that Rusty Wallace, Jeremy Mayfield throwback from the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, I believe that's a Mayfield car.
And looking good out front. Steinmiller, he really thrives here at Darlington. This is definitely one of his best racetracks, driving for Lake Norman Motorsports. As he's making his way around the 42 of Michael Hosick, involved in one of those early cautions.
Yeah, at this point in the race, there's just a bunch of cars that are in little packs, but Ethan has gotten to a group of lap cars here that include Josh Adams. Looks like there's about 4 or 5 cars right in front of him now. How aggressive are you going to be if you're Ethan trying to work these lap cars?
Depends on how quick Hank's catching me. As we got a caution on the speedway.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
Saved Josh Adams, the 44 Goodman, these guys that were getting ready to get lapped. That is a huge break for them.
92 car of Chad Thornquist, bunch of damage on it. Slow on the bottom of the track there. Let's see what happened to him that brought out this yellow. Looks like him in the 14, and so the 14's coming off a pit road, and the 92 just gets loose and cleans out the 14, and Rucker with a great miss. Oh. Looks like Wyatt Nadel not quite so lucky there in the 84 car, who had a pretty decent run going there. So that's too bad. That's going to take him out of contention probably for wherever he was running. He might be able to salvage an okay finish, but when you get front end damage like that here, it's difficult to come back from as we see the leaders down pit road.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this is they're going to hand out stage points. It's going to be under yellow. Will we see anybody try to win the stage here?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting to see if anyone stays out. I mean, it would definitely gain him 10 points, which could be valuable as we got a really good race off pit road. Burrell wins it. We'll see if anyone stayed out.
Staying out is if you get trapped. You know, they do not clear that penalty if you enter a closed pit.
Which is the chance you take if you're going to do it. Can't tell if anyone is or not. It looks like the 17 of
I
Brandon
think
Key.
Key. Yeah, Brandon Key is out here.
Which, I mean, I guess if you need the points, I mean, that's 10
if you're
points.
Key, you know, I think Josh Adams probably missed a shot here. He's not very good tonight. He's got a lot of damage. I think if I'm one of these guys that was at the very back of the lead lap, that's where I'm running. I would have stayed out here and tried to get some of these stage points and at least come away with something tonight.
Yes, Key crosses the line, lap 90 there, stage winner. Doesn't matter how you win him. Still the winner. Looks like Ethan's going to get 9 points for finishing second and on down the list through 10th place, I think. Not 100% sure on that, but pretty sure. I think that's how we did it last season, so I don't remember that being changed. Looks like the 42 of Michael Hossack's going to get his lap back, or at least one of his laps back. Looks like he was 2 laps down. He's going to be 1 now. With the wave around when we come back to 1 to go. This is dangerous for Key, though. I mean, he's going to be on a lot of older tires. Obviously, wasn't running up in the top 3 or 4 to begin with. I think he was back around the 10th position. So not quite the speed of the 37 to begin with. Now he's going to be on a lot older tires. He's going to have to be careful these first couple laps after this restart to make sure he doesn't get himself in too much trouble and hope for a quick caution so he can get himself down pit road and get some fresh tires on it.
I would almost, if I'm Key, I almost ask for an EOL. The admins will give you an EOL and put you back there, and at least you don't tear up your race car, because he's going to be 2 seconds a lap slower.
Yeah, I
think he's going to stay up here. So.
Yeah, he's going to stay up here. We got the 1 to go there. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. He's going to be a lot slower than these other leaders.
I do like the call. I think where he was running, if you were outside the top 15, I think this is a call that other people maybe should have made too to try to steal some points. And Key was the only one who did it. I think this was a good call. As long as he doesn't get wrecked here and we get another yellow, he'll be able to come down and get new tires and race for 15th where he was. Or if we run 5 laps, get a yellow, and then it goes green, he'll have the tire advantage over everybody right there and maybe get to 10th.
Yeah, I think as long as he doesn't tear his stuff up here, it was a good call by Key to stay out. Get those 10 points. I mean, that's 10 points. If he finishes 13th, he'll have the same amount of points as somebody that finished outside the top 10 and finishes 3rd. So those 10 points can be very valuable. Playoff point if he's able to plot himself into the playoffs, which Key is very capable of doing so. As pace car drops off, we'll go green again here. Watch for tire spin on the 17, though. A little sketchy on the gas. As you see, the 37 definitely a way better launch. Key's just going to concede that spot.
That's a good move for Key. That was as good as you could hope he could get a start on those old tires.
Yeah, I think he realized very quick that those old tires were not going to do him any favors as the field single files out off of turn 2. Steinmiller kind of stacks him up a little bit. Chad almost gets in the back of Garrison Hogan, one of the best drivers in the field. This is the best track position we've seen him have this early in a restart, so I'd be careful these other cars wearing their tires out because Garrison Hogan's he knows how to get that done. We've seen it time and time again.
And one thing I want to bring home here is the Chad Frankenfield in the 15 and Josh Robin in the 8, who stayed out a couple cautions ago. They were able to pit and stay inside the top 10 here. As we got a spinner on the backstretch, the 46 spun around.
Right, and Barbieri spun out on the backstretch. I think he was low enough to prevent bringing the caution out, which I'm thankful for. Able.
Now, though.
Yeah, get going. Don't bring out a caution. We're watching you.
Right now, Brandon Key's like, damn, I would have loved to have seen that yellow right there.
Yeah, the rest of the field's glad that we're still green, though, as 56 gets by Fody. Chad's going to try and do the same thing. No love lost between these two. We'll see how nice they are to one another going into turn 3. Fody not giving up the spot. Chad dives to the bottom, thinks about coming up the racetrack. They're going to be door-to-door off turn 4.
Now, this is the first time that these guys have actually seen Chad be able to run with him and be on the same tires.
Fody makes a good call there and lets Chad have it. He'll go back to work here. Yeah, I mean, Chad, very talented race car driver. He's one of the best in the Indy cars I've seen on this platform. Very competitive in the stock cars as well. I believe he was 2020 B Cup champion. at Atlanta Speedway. Spanked the field, got us by multiple seconds. So Chad, very capable. We'll see what he can do on these equal tires.
He is not happy with these old tires right now, and he can't be happy with what he's seeing. The field has went single file, spread out a little bit. If you're Brandon Key, this is worst case scenario as far as, yeah, you got those 10 points, but it won't take very long to get lapped running as slow as he is right now on those old tires.
No, it won't take very long at all. Hank Steinmiller has not let Ethan Burrell get away at all. He is stock in that 37 car. Dives it off into turn 3. Trying to get a run on him off the corner. Looks like he's trying a little harder than Ethan, though, trying to get those runs. So he's got to be careful to make sure he has enough tire left before the end of the run. And
yeah, one thing we've seen Ethan really good at tonight is the long runs. Do you think he's just running as hard as he needs to? Maybe we'll see him let Hank go here and just say, you go ahead, I'll see you in 10 laps.
I don't think he's going to let him go, but he's definitely going a little easier. That 56 car, I know I mentioned it time and time again. He's just buying his time back there. If I was a betting man, I'd be pounding the bet button on that 56 car right now.
I don't know, just from what we've seen tonight, I think if I'm going to place a bet, I'm placing it on that 37 car.
Not a bad bet at all. I think my odds are probably a little better on the 56. That's why I was saying pound the bet button on that. Saving his tires back there. Chad, too. I mean, he's right there as well.
Yeah, I went out on a pretty thick limb there with Ethan. You know, he's led a lot of this race, and we've seen Tucher not have the pace after 20 laps. I really put myself on a limb there with that pick.
Yeah, and somewhere a Hank Steinmiller fan saying, why did they bet on Hank? Well, he'd be a good pick, too. He's running right there. He's ran good all race long. He runs good every time we come to Darlington. This is definitely one of his favorite tracks. One of the ones he runs his best on as he's ripping the top line. He might get a run alongside the 37, not quite. Close between the turn 4 wall and Ethan Burrell right there, but he's able to make it work, and he's still the leader as we head off into 1. Steinmiller getting another high exit there, trying to get this exit run to be able to make a move on the 37. Not able to do it as we see the number 89 of Brent Jones there on the apron. Shout out to Brent. And as these two are playing games with one another, those two behind him are closing in.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder what kind of pace the 37 is trying to push for here. Is he running 80%, 85, 90? Is Hank forcing him to drive a little bit harder than he wants to? I mean, it looks like from what I've seen, Hank's up on the wheel, I believe, watching his car.
Yeah, Hank's definitely up on the wheel. I'd like to think Ethan's saving a little bit just because his teammate in the 56 behind him, he knows how good he is at saving tires. So hopefully Ethan's saving a little bit, trying to make sure he's able to stay equal with that 56 car as we come across the line there. Just a little over 40 laps to go.
Yeah, if it stays green, I believe everybody's made their last stop. This is a fuel run, but if it does stay green, it'll be the longest run of the race, the longest they've went on tires. I think if it were to stay green, the last 10 or 15 laps would be pretty exciting on used up tires.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I hope this goes green. I know you out in North Carolina cheering for that 17 car. Brandon Key are just praying for a caution any second as he's not too far away from getting lapped. As they go by the 14 of Casey Hatch once again, closing in on the damaged vehicle of Scott Crump, who was involved in one of those early cautions.
Slide out of Ethan, and maybe he is pushing just a little bit harder than he has been all race. But we got the 90 right in the way here. I think that's going to stall out Hank here.
Yeah, that 90 saved Ethan there from getting dive bombed from the 63, but he's got to be careful.
Scott didn't do anything wrong there. I'm not calling out the 90, Scott.
Not at all.
It's hard to get out of the way. This is not a very wide racetrack. He did the best he could down there in 3 and 4.
Oh, for sure. If you go any lower than that, you're spinning out. So Scott did everything he could there with the vehicle he's got. But Ethan's got to be careful. The more you slide that right rear, the more it wants to slide the next time you go through. So I mean, you got to watch that. These guys are definitely driving their hearts out, though.
Yeah, and like you said, we got the 56 sitting right there, the 15 right behind him. I mean, these front four have kind of separated on everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, they've been some of the class of the field the whole race.
I
So
mean, the guy
not
missing is the
surprised.
19. The 19 is the guy that's missing. He's had great short run pace, but maybe he hurt his car a little bit worse than we thought when he got the fence those couple times in that last run.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much on this iRacing platform to. I mean, just the slightest hit, it sometimes doesn't affect the car at all, and sometimes it takes quite a bit of speed out of it. As 63 is able to close in on Ethan on entry there. See what he can do on exit at turn 2. Turn 2, easily one of the most difficult corners on any of the NASCAR circuits. The change in banking as you're trying to trying to get that nice apex off the quarter to be able to have the run down the back straightaway. One of the most difficult in NASCAR, and that plays true even on a simulation game, whatever you want to call it, of iRacing. As a 63 again, much better entry in a turn 1 for the 63 over Burrell. Burrell's able to gain that distance back as the 63 gets a little sideways off of turn 2.
If I'm sitting in third and fourth and I'm seeing both of these guys slide, I'm smiling here. Like, yeah, you guys keep racing each other, and then in 20 laps, I'll be able to pass you because my tires are just better. But we just saw the 56 slide off of 4 too, so I mean, he's pushing pretty hard as well.
Yeah, I mean, this has got to be getting close to one of the longest runs we've seen. So, like I said, the car is pretty loose. It wants to burn that right rear tire as we see Trevor Elam once again putting his name into the fire. So we see Brandon Key very close to getting lapped. I think it's going to happen in this corner, if not down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Key's giving him the top. He's lapped, but it's not over. He's still in the lucky dog spot. It looks like it'll be his for, man, not for very long. There's another lapper right out in front of him.
Yeah, that's too bad, but it was worth the call. I applaud the strategy. I applaud the aggressiveness. We'll see how it goes for Trevor Elam here, trying to get by Chad. We've seen Chad be very difficult to pass. Trevor's going to have a huge run, but where's he going to go with Brandon Key there? Key's going to dive to the bottom. If he can hold it, they'll be fine. Elam dives it. Barely stays off the wall. Chad got really loose there. I think Chad tried to overdrive the corner too. Elam able to take that position, and I think that'll be for a top 5 spot.
That could have been bigger if it was more than just the two of them, for sure.
Yeah, top 4 spot. He's up in the 4th place. What a great run for that fueled up racing machine of Trevor Elam, who runs a throwback to Kevin Harvick every week. He's got that 2000, I believe it's 12 paint scheme of Kevin Harvick's. Didn't see him win too much. I think he won in Phoenix toward the end of the season when we've
seen a great highlight here though between him and Kyle Busch at this very track that year. So that's something to think about if Kyle Busch cars out here.
Yeah, I wish there was some more fists thrown that night as a Kevin Harvick fan. I was cheering him on for sure. That's we didn't have much to be proud about that season, but that was something we did have.
And
these
we
guys
haven't
maybe
talked about Trevor a lot tonight. He started 36th, running 4th. Josh Robin is 30. He started 37th, and he's running 8th. We got a yellow. We got a yellow out here.
And that's what these leaders did not want to see, because it's going to bunch them back up. All that tire saving they've been doing this entire run out the window, as it's unfortunately it's Brandon Key on those old tires.
That's unfortunate. I was just looking to see if he was going to be in position for the lucky dog.
Looks like he had pitted and just got massive loose off the banking there coming out of pit road, which I know that looks silly to the casual viewer watching this race, but I can tell you I did that a couple times in practice. It is very sketchy coming off of pit road, and unfortunately it bit Brandon Key at the worst of times. He'll get an EOL for that for sure, for a self spin,
and he is 2 laps down, but if he can keep running, he can get a lap back when everybody pits later. I mean, it's still not out of the realm of possibility for him to be on the lead lap. We've seen how these races end sometimes with a lot of yellows and whatnot. And I mean, even if that's where he finishes tonight, he won a stage. He got him a lot of points, got that playoff point. So it's
For
not
sure.
all for naught.
As the leaders dive off onto pit road, I'm going to take a quick break, get something to drink for this finish here. I'll be right back.
And this will likely be the last pit stop we see out of these guys tonight. Not going to need these tires to go very long. You're looking at about 25 laps or so. Looks like everybody got into the pits pretty good. A lot of guys are still out on the track. We'll see if anybody chooses to take the wave around. If I was driving one of these cars that's multiple laps down, I think this is where I would make that decision and take a wave and try to get one of my laps back. I see Keys out here. I'm not sure if he's going to have the EOL before or after. If this works out where he can get one of his laps back and be one lap down and get the EOL, that would be really beneficial for him. Looks like Fode's been sitting on pit road quite a while. I wonder if he's fixing some damage. There has to be some damage fixed for Fode. Yeah, definitely some damage fixed for Fode. Right rear is used up a little bit. If you're just tuning in, this is the SMRI Tilson 200 from Darlington, full distance tonight. Closing in on the end of this thing. It looks like Burrell will be the leader. He held serve on pit road.
And that 56 car plots himself into second place. What did I miss with Hank? Where'd he go?
I'm not sure. I know that Fode sat on pit road a long time fixing damage.
Okay.
Not sure about Hank. I haven't seen, haven't heard. Key was arguing to get a lap back here, but I don't think he's going to get it because everybody pitted and he was in front of the leader. That would have been huge if you're a Brandon Key fan for him to get a lap back and serve the EOL on the other end. He's not going to get it though.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to go green here with about 29 laps to go. Your running order going to be Ethan Burrell, Garrison Hogan, Chad Frankenfield, David Tucher back up into P4, Josh Robin, and Trevor Elam, your first three rows. I think the Pro Edge cars of Burrell, Hogan, and Tucher will probably... I'd be pretty surprised if Chad's able to beat any of them off into turn one, because they will be working together on this restart to try and get themselves out in front. Yeah, it looks like Hank's way back there in the back of the pack.
Yeah,
So
did Hank get a penalty there?
he must have got some sort of penalty, whether he missed his box or speeding penalty. But
yeah,
he's...
because Fode sat there a long time and fixed damage. That's what happened to Fode. And Hank's at the back of everyone, so that has to be a speeding penalty, I would think.
Yep, as we see Burrell taking the outside here. I mean, if this goes green, it's going to be one heck of a battle between this top 4 to 6 cars. They've been pretty equal on this short of a run. We'll see what kind of launch they're able to get. Burrell, Hogan's pretty even there. Burrell launches. Tucher gets a great restart. Hogan's going to be lucky to be in P3 by the time they get to turn one. Elam's going to try and plot himself to the outside. Hogan's going to hold serve there in third. Chad Frankenfield get wrecked. Chad's around. Robin's got some damage. Westergreen looks like he caught a little bit of the fence. That's really unfortunate for Chad. Chad had a great run going. And he just got loose. Robin hits him. Campbell with a little bit of damage. Josh Clark, a great job missing that crash. Same with Michael Goodman. Really a good job by the field of preventing that from being larger than it was. That could have taken out a lot of cars, but the field did a really good job of getting around him. Josh Clark and Michael Goodman both coming very close to getting into the Chad. But doing a whale of a job of missing him.
If you're Robin, do you pit and fix this damage, or do you stay out and see how bad it is? I mean, that nose looks pretty rough, but
I mean,
that's track position you have there.
I mean, he'll have to see what kind of, if he's got any engine damage, I think he'll have to. Last night, I hit a car or a truck, not about half as hard as he just hit Chad, and it only took 2 laps to blow up. So they're pretty sensitive these days. So he'll have to play that out and kind of see what he thinks. I mean, it'd be tough for anyone to give up a 5th place running position though, with only 27 laps to go.
Yeah, it looks like he's staying out here. Going to fill it out, see what happens. That could have been so much bigger though, like you said there. When somebody spins on a restart and stays on the banking in 1 and 2 like that, 9 times out of 10, it turns into a 10-car pile. And we still have Trevor up there. Josh is still up there. We're not sure about, what kind of damage. Those guys both started outside the top 35 of the night. And then we got Josh Adams back up to 8th. He was within half a car length of getting lapped a couple cautions ago, and now he's up to 8th.
Yeah, I think regardless of what happens at the last 25, 26 laps of this race, I think you got to give Josh Adams comeback of the race, because he's been down and out pretty much this entire race. He didn't get a time in qualifying, got some damage on one of those restarts, and couldn't advance his position with the damage that he had. Nearly went a lap down not even 10 minutes ago, and now he finds himself on the 4th row of a restart with less than 30 laps to go. So props to him. Obviously one of the best in the league, especially here at Darlington, but being able to come through this field the way he's been able to do it's pretty impressive, missing all these crashes. And I think he'll be a threat to get a top 5 for sure.
And just in that little bit, Hank Steinmiller has already driven back up to 17th. Chad's going to be restarting at the back, but his car's not too bad. Nobody hit him, like we've talked about. So his car's still going to be okay. I mean, it's not over for him yet. We got Rusty Green sitting in 9th. He's up there. He started 27th.
Yeah, great run for D West and that Jeff Burton throwback number 12.
Richard Hines right now sitting 11th. He started dead last on the field, and he's sitting 11th right now. So there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of good stories to come out of this who didn't get a time, started at the back, and they've just survived to this point.
Yeah, we see Tucher back up here. I mean, this is ideal for him. Obviously, I think he still has a little bit of right side damage, so I don't know if he'll be able to do anything with a 37 or 56 on the long 25 lap-ish run that we'll have if we're able to go green. But this is the perfect amount of laps for him. He was able to hold very strong at the front of the field the first half of the race, really. And he really didn't start falling off till about 30 laps into the run, so good for him. Trevor Elam in the 29 once again. He's in 4th place. He's going to be starting on the outside behind Ethan Burrell. So he might be able to get himself into the 3rd, coming into turn 1 on this restart. So, I mean, watch out for him. We haven't
mentioned yet is Dustin Dewar is the free pass on that last yellow.
Okay, so Dewar getting one of his. Does that put him back on the lead lap? Or?
Yep, lead lap. Jeff Green throwbacks back on the lead lap.
There you go.
Jeff Green himself is sitting 14th right now. Let's see what happens.
Also in a Jeff Green 10. Throwback.
Yeah, lots of love for Jeff Green out here.
Yeah. You're something when you're able to throw back to yourself. So, shout out to Jeff Green and that C2 Freight number 38 back there in 14.
That's something that's open.
As Ethan Burrell, another great launch. Tucher able to stay clear in 2nd. Those 2 behind him, though, side by side into 1. We'll see who gives, if anybody. It looks like Elam's going to give. Hogan slots into 3rd. Elam at 4th.
We got one in the wall here, the Bill Elliott throwback, I believe, that McDonald's car.
That's Gerald Campbell. I know he's one of your favorites out here on the racetrack.
Hey,
got Josh Clark side.
Everybody's my friend.
Oh, Josh Clark side by side with Colin Fern. If he's not able to get in behind him, Fode's going to be right there too, as he's barely able to squeeze in front of Fode. Here comes Adams, 95. I believe, is that a Mark Martin throwback? Does that put him into 5th place? Is he up to 5th already?
Yes, it does. He finally decided to show up tonight.
There he is. Perfect timing, as we're coming to 22 to go next time by.
I'm not sure about the damage on Josh Robin either. It looks like that might be hurting him a little bit here.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely going to hurt him. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully he'll be able to stay in the top 10 or so, but that kind of damage is definitely going to hurt your speed. The longer the run goes on, the worse it's going to get too. As we see Josh Clark, a little bit of trouble there. He's getting split 3 wide on multiple directions.
Yeah, and I think
and he gets put in the wall. Good save though.
That all started back in 3 and 4, I believe. Oh, we're gonna have a wreck here, man.
Yeah,
that Dale Jr. throwback has had a rough night. Throwing back to the, I believe, 04 Daytona 500 win.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna pretty much end his night. I think that was some pretty heavy contact.
I think that all started in 3 and 4. When
Hines and Clark. Hines and Clark got into it in turn 1 there, and Clark did a good job of saving it the first time, but when he tried to come back on the track, that transition onto the banking really got him, and he locked him up and did what he could at that point, but it was too far gone. And Trey Holmes
Chad just missed it. Is Chad gonna hit the? Oh, Chad's gonna hit the wall. He had to adjust his line so much that he actually got up into the wall a little bit.
I don't think that little bit of contact will affect him too much, but
yeah, I think if we go back a little further to 3 and 4, Jeff Green, I believe, got into Clark. That stalled out Clark all the way down the front stretch. He got hit. He was basically getting used up there by everybody.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't being given any space, and that was actually quite a bit of contact for Chad. We'll see how he's able to recover from that.
Definitely going to make an adjustment to his race car, probably.
Yeah, it's not going to be faster, that's for sure. But same 4 out front, but Colin Fern back up there in the top 5, 5th place.
Did we have some pitters here? Where did Josh Adams go?
Adams must have pitted. Now it gets interesting. If we go green, Adams could have a chance.
Yeah, Adams is pitted here with Gerald Campbell. Hank is on pit road. Josh Adams is going to be the first one off pit road, so there is a group of cars that has pitted here.
We'll see if it plays out for him, but
Josh Clark just made the comment that he thinks he got hit by everybody there during that last half a lap.
I don't know if he got hit by everybody, but it was sure close by everybody, so can't really disagree with him there. He was obviously off the pace a little bit, but definitely getting used up by everybody. But with 20 to go at Darlington, and you've worked this hard to be wherever you are in the field, regardless of where it is, you're not slowing down. So can't fault anyone. Can't fault him either he was doing a pretty good job of staying out of the way until he finally did have some contact made.
So what do you think about these guys that just pitted? I mean, I personally don't think I would have. There's only about 4 or 5 green flag laps on the tires. I mean, you look at Josh here. He was 5th when the caution came out. He gave up 7 spots to pit. Restart 12th with new tires.
12th, not too bad. I think the thing that's gonna really depend for Josh on how well he's able to finish in this race is if we're able to go green. If we're able to go green, I think he's going to finish top 5 for sure. If we're not, we're just going to ride around under caution for the next 19 laps. It's going to be pretty difficult for him to make up positions.
Yeah, and it's going to be about the restart too. Like, you got to try to get a lot of these guys in the first lap or 2. I think if I'm Josh, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking I'd like to get at least 4 or 5 cars within the first lap or 2 of this restart.
I mean, it'd be nice, but you can't be too aggressive, otherwise you'll end up sideways in the fence off of turn 2 there. So we got our caution summary. 10 cautions. Seems like a lot more than that, but for 38 caution laps, we got 9 lead changes. Yeah,
the SMRI Tilson 200's about ready to be over. 15 laps or so here from the end of this thing.
He'll have 17 to go with the line. Once again, we got Burrell, Tucher, Hogan, Elam, and old but new to the top 5, we got Colin Fern and that Jimmy Spencer throwback for Brandon Built Racing, or Motorsports, whatever they call themselves, but either way.
And Fody gave up all of his track position a couple cautions ago to fix damage and restarted 15th or 20th. And there he is with a clean car. It looks like he's kept it clean coming back through these guys. So that's turned out to be a good call. I wasn't sure about it when he was doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Fody's one of the best, so.
How long do you work with your teammate here if you're Ethan? Do you work with him all the way to the end?
We're fixing to find out here.
It doesn't look like that restart was as good as the other ones.
Not for Ethan, but for the rest of the Pro Edge guys, Ethan's still able to clear.
We got Dylan Thomas around back here. Hank might have got some damage. If you're one of the guys that just pitted for tires, that's not what you want. That was actually guys with tires. Those guys that just wrecked there were the guys that were just on pit road.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks, not only for us and those of you watching at home to have another caution, but sucks even more for Josh Adams.
I think Hank's clean. It looks like Hank did a great job staying off Dylan.
I mean, everyone did a pretty good job of staying off of him, but it's just unfortunate. It does look like Josh was able to maybe get 2 positions there, maybe only 1. Looks like that's what happened. There's a big checkup to 87, slower than those guys by quite a bit on those old tires, and the 03 just got sideways on the brakes.
And based on scoring here, it looks like Josh is back behind Chad. So that checkup was so rough that
that cost him big time. So he's probably pretty frustrated right now. Yeah, that's what happens when you got guys on such different tires who are already a little further off the pace than the guy behind them to begin with. And that's not
what I'm seeing here. Key's going to get one of his laps back as well. Key's still 2 laps down, but he's the first car.
Yeah, we'll see.
He did not get it. He was apparently they're ruling he was in the wreck, so it's going to go to the 42. Going to get it over Key.
Well, that's kind of rough for Key. He made it what I felt like was a pretty good call there with how many cautions we had, and the one time we don't get one, he lost a couple laps.
The driver helped us out there because he wrecked too. You know, he wrecked after that call was made. I think if he doesn't wreck there and bring out the yellow, I think it is a good call, and we look a lot smarter.
Yeah, dang it, Key. I know you'll watch this back later. Dang it, Key.
I hope he's watching now. So, on that last restart, it didn't look like the communication was quite there between those front 2 guys being teammates. Is it time to race to win? You know, are we going to see Tucher, try to stay down here? Could we see? I mean, we saw it with the Gibbs cars at the Brickyard 400 a few years ago, where Truex and Kyle took themselves out. Not working together on the front row. I mean, I doubt we see that out of these 2, but anything is possible if you decide that, hey, I'm not going to tell you when I'm going. It's up to you. Well, then when you get to turn 1, if you're side by side, it's like, hey, it's up to you. Do you want to wreck or not?
Yeah, I think they'll play nice. I think they almost worked together too well last time because they all got such a similar jump on the field.
Now, see, I'm trying to say Tucker was smart and he was able to take off with Ethan, but maybe it was that too. They worked together too well. Am I trying to give Tucker more credit than he deserves on that last restart?
No, not at all. I mean, he definitely deserves credit for the launch he got.
I just know your teammates. I was trying to see if you throw him under the bus a little bit.
Nah, I won't throw him too far under the bus. Just enough to scare him.
So what's unfortunate here for these guys with tires is that they just wrecked back there with tires. So that hurts. And then if you're Josh Adams, you're still the first car on tires here. but you're going to be restarting behind the same car that just jammed you up in the last one. And if you're Hank, you're now restarting behind Josh. You don't even get to be in the other lane. So those two, I think, are probably the best two cars that pitted, and they're more than likely not going to have anywhere to go down here in one.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. Fern's going to be on the outside this time of Tyler Fody, so they just swapped positions on that start. And 2000 Busch Series champion Jeff Green, we've talked a lot about him tonight. He's made his way up to 8th with those guys pitting. If they keep wrecking, he'll be just fine up there.
If I'm Hank, I'm very disappointed in getting a penalty there because, I mean, he was, I think, the only guy that we've seen go up and be able to run with Ethan and gave Ethan all he could handle, and then to get that penalty there, you know, you're throwing away a shot to race for the win unless you can somehow pull off some kind of magic here. Ooh, a little stack up there on the start. Big stack
Big
up.
stack up. Yeah, that's Josh Adams losing a lot of time getting plowed into the. I'm not sure who that red car. Richard Hines must have just decided not to shift there or missed a shift, and they're 3 wide behind him. So with Clark and others,
big wreck. Fody's around. Fern's in it. Oh, we got Hank's destroyed in the inside wall back on the backstretch.
Yeah, along with Dewar, looks like. And what a disaster.
Now Hank's going to be really upset, throwing away a chance to win. He was still looking at a top 10, and now that hit looked like it's going to be on the hook.
Yeah. I mean, the most frustrated driver in the field right now is probably going to be Josh Adams after that restart, getting plowed into the back of, but Fody could have been lower. Fern definitely didn't give him enough room regardless, it doesn't look like. Fern's going to have some heavy right side damage, and so is Fody.
Ooh, that was a big hit.
Almost lifting that car up and over. Vincent Isabella does a good job of missing Fody.
Chad, again, just barely misses one.
Yeah, and Richard Hines took him the whole corner. He finally
Campbell
wrecks behind there. Dustin Dewar wrecks, and that's going to destroy Hank Steinmiller. Richard Hines going to hit the inside wall, too. Tough couple of corners for the 87 machine there.
That really sucks for those guys at the back because they were just checking up and running over each other, and that's what ended up getting somebody like Hank. Hank's checking up for that wreck, and he got hit. I'm sure the guy that hit him's checking up too, and it's so hard to check up and how much you check up. If you check up a little bit more than the guy in front of you or behind you and you get hit, you know, it's like, hey, were you checking up? Well, he was checking up, just not as hard as you, and just stack up at that point.
Yeah, and Fern's probably going to get a couple of these spots back. But he's going to have
he's given an EOL. They're putting that on that blame on him is what they're doing for Fern, so he's going to go to the back.
Okay, yeah. Fair call there. I know they've been calling a lot of things racing incidents, and that was close to a racing incident, but I think Fern definitely did not give the 40 car enough room to make the corner regardless of how low the
10 to go at Darlington to me.
Yeah, it definitely did. Could be the same 4 cars out front though. New in 5th place though, you got another Pro Edge racing machine of Vincent Isabella, and up to 6th, 2000 Busch Series champion Jeff Green.
Yeah, and what we got to look at here is Josh Adams. I don't know if it's that damage or what. He's fallen to 14th. I believe Gerald Campbell in 9th is going to be the highest guy that came and got tires. I'm not sure how much that matters at this point, but his tires are going to be about 5 green laps fresher than everybody in front of him.
Yeah, Adams, it wasn't the damage that he had. The 87 on that restart must have missed a shift, and Adams did a good job of checking up, but he got ran into the back of checking up for the 87 because he was so off pace, and it really stacked him up and prevented him from gaining any positions on that restart, actually losing a couple and gaining some damage in the process. So that call for tires, while I do think the call was worth it, really
just with these cautions, it's not a help.
No, especially when you're kind of sort of involved in them like he was there.
New tires don't help you at all when you're running 60 miles an hour.
Nope, not at all.
But, I mean, we've talked about him, and he's creeping. Trevor Elam in third place here is the guy that I'm watching. I think that would be a story to win from as far back as he started. You got Jeff Green, like you said, he's going to be 6th here. Westergreen's up to 7th. Chad's still sitting 8th, like I said, with his damage. You know, what, 15 laps to go? He was sitting 22nd after he got that EOL. Now he's 8th.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough for Trevor to clear the 56 car into turn 1, but I know there's probably not anyone hungrier to win a race than him. He's been close a couple times already this season, shown a lot of good speed. He really came on toward the end of the last season, earned himself a charter in the Cup Series through this Grand National Series, and now showing what he's made of here, as we've got a pretty solid top 10 there. I mean, these cream always rise to the top. We'll see who's able to get the job done, though.
Here is Fode's going to restart 12th. He did not pit. That car was pretty high in the air. I have to think there has to be some kind of significant damage with that car.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty tough for any of these guys to beat Ethan Burrell unless he makes a mistake. He's been too good all night. As Tucher gets not a great jump, and worst case scenario for Ethan Burrell is that 56 car clearing into second, but he's going to let Tucher go. I don't understand that one at all, to be honest with you. I think Garrison Hogan had a really good shot of being in second.
He got a black flag, I believe, and because it was just cleared. I'm not sure if he realized they were going to clear it.
Gotcha. That's know the rules. know the rules before you get in.
These restarts, you get a black for some things that just because everybody takes off. It's not exactly iRacing flags that matter.
Yeah. As big melee back here toward 8th position or so. Side by side. Campbell and Westergreen. Westergreen running pretty well in that 12 car. Ryan Barbieri is going to get a run on the outside, followed by Fode, and Adams also going to get a run on him. I think he's going to get freight trained here in turn 3 and 4.
Fode's car, it was up in the air, but it looks like it's still got pace.
Yeah, and it looks like Chad Frankenfield's able to get around Vincent Isabella. Tucher not able to close in on that 37 car quite yet. Jeff Green's made himself.
Tucher descended and destroyed the wall in turn 1. It looked like he tried to run through there wide open.
Well, he didn't lose any time. Jeff Green's up to 5th place through all that. Garrison Hogan and Trevor Elam battling like they have been, seems like, the entire second half of this race.
I'm sorry, I meant Rucker. Rucker in the back in the Kenseth car, not Tucker.
Okay, I was going to say, Tucher didn't lose any spots for how hard you're saying he hit the wall. Or lose any.
I missed
any
one.
ground.
My bad.
Yeah, he definitely sends her off into turn 1, though, and he's able to make decent time in 1 and 2, but Ethan run a little higher in 3 and 4. I feel like he's able to make up a little more ground on him. And we're only coming to 3 to go, so at this point, it's going to take a caution or a mistake out of that 37 car for anyone to have a chance. 3 laps to go from Darlington.
Just getting together. Dylan Thomas. Looks like everybody's going to be okay.
Well, we'll see. They're 3 wide back there.
I thought that was going to be the late race caution for a second.
I hope we go green. I'm tired of cautions. We got Ethan Burrell, David Tucher, Garrison Hogan, Pro Edge. Really making a name for the team out there. Trevor Elam, though, trying to prevent that podium lockout from those Toyota Supras. Ethan Burrell takes 2 laps to go. Elam all over the back of the 56 car. One tiny mistake out of Garrison Hogan.
You're just saying no caution. No caution. Let me get to the white.
Yep.
Oh, we got a wreck off of 2. Oh, that's going to be a call. It's Josh Adams.
Oh.
It's Josh Adams. I believe he might have had some help. I'm not certain.
Yeah, that's too bad. Josh fought and clawed his way to be where he was, and looks like he got a little loose, and the 46 maybe didn't really have anywhere to go when he got loose, and helped him the rest of the way around, and Josh hits that inside wall pretty hard. 46 also, I think that was Robin that was making contact with him.
Now what? Now what do you do for pits? Because now if you're the guys at the front, you've got 10, 15 green flag laps on your tires. At some place in the field, somebody's going to come get tires.
Yeah, it ain't going to be in the top 7 or 8, though. If you're up there, you're not pitting.
I think if I'm Chad, I'm going to come get tires. I think if I'm sitting where Chad Frankenfield is, I come get them.
I think if you're in the top 10, there's no way. I mean, this race hasn't proven anything to me other than probably it's just not going to work out for you regardless. So
they do have 3 attempts too, so they're going to more than likely they're going to run 2 green flag laps at some point. But it looks like everybody's taking your strategy. Nobody, it looks like in the top 15 or 16 are going to come.
Yeah, and I hate to do this to you, but I gotta head out of here. I was hoping to be able to make the whole race with you, but thanks to you and Gable for letting me come up here and join you.
Yeah, I was glad to get some help. This is my rookie broadcast, and so it was nice to have somebody else up here and go back and forth with you.
Yeah, sorry to everyone that had to listen to us. It's only the second or third time I've ever done this, so at least Chris had someone to hang out with. But yeah, I really wish I could make the rest of the race, but I gotta head out and do some other things. But you guys have a good evening, and thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll be able to see a heck of a finish.
Thanks a lot, Tate. We'll see you later. So we're set up here for a green-white checkered. I think it's going to take something happening to Burrell for him to get beat here, a misshift, some kind of issue. We'll see what happens here. It's been a crazy race. Green-white checkered here in the SMRI Tilson 200. It's going to be a little bit more than 200 tonight. Going to go into some overtime. A lot of the field is mangled. A lot of cars been in at least one wreck. Probably more than half the field in multiple. But so far tonight, Ethan Burrell's kind of snuck up the show there a little bit. He's led the majority of this race. Tucher controlled it a little. Feels like yesterday at this point, but first 30 laps or so, Tucher was out front and he hit the wall a couple times. Wasn't as good on the long run and hasn't had the pace that Burrell has shown. But yeah, just taking a look here. A lot of these cars are tore up, but one that isn't, I believe, is Goodman, the 44. He's got a little bit of damage, but his car looks pretty clean compared to everybody else's. Burrell looks like he's pretty good. That 56 stayed out of most of the issues tonight. Looks like Brandon Key is going to get the lucky dog here. Getting one to go. If you're Brandon Key, you're going to sit here and you're going to want a yellow. You're going to want another green-white checkered. You're going to want to miss it and get back on the lead lap. It's after, wasn't that many laps ago that he was backwards after he stayed out to win the stage and ended up 2 laps down. So if you're Key, you're sitting here wanting a caution to be able to try to gain some of these spots, because a lot of these guys on the back end of the lead lap are just off pace. Their cars are killed at this point, and they're just trying to finish. Key is still in pretty decent shape. We'll see if these Pro Edge guys at the front, are they still working together? Is it time to take the gloves off? Jeff Green's making his first appearance in the top 5. His pace car is off. Can we do this on one attempt? It's gone. Great jump for Burrell. First side-by-side battle is going to be for third. I think Elam's going to probably get that spot. He's in that preferred lane. Yeah, Trevor's going to pull into third. Going to have us try it. They're going to have a race for the lead here. Tucker's going to be there. We're wrecking off of 4 of the 68s around, and it's going to be big. If you're Brandon Key, like I talked about right there, you are liking what you just saw. You're going to get back on the lead lap. but the 68 was in that. I believe the junior throwback again was in that. Just got sideways. Clipped that apron just a little bit. Got himself sideways. He almost had it saved, overcorrected. Fern's going to get a little bit of it. But the Burton throwback and the junior throwback, it's the 12, and I'm not sure what numbers on the junior car, but not a whole lot you can do when they wreck like that, just green, white, checkered. Just one of them deals, trying to gain as much as you can there. Just clipped that apron. He almost had it caught. So we're going to set up and do it again. Trevor's going to take off from third this time. Chad's going to take off from fifth. It looks like everybody third on back just is going to be flipped on the row they were in. A lot of that restart is just based on what lane the leader picks, and Ethan picking the top, it pulled the top lane. So it looks like everybody in the top lane gained a spot. And Brandon Key is passing the field. He's going to get back on the lead lap. I would not be surprised to see Key get up towards the top 15 here, even if it's only 2 laps. I mean, looking at the shape some of these cars are in, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. You just got to make sure not to wreck yourself or somebody. A lot of these cars are they're in rough shape. Looking at the caution summary, have way too many of them tonight. We got room for one more. We're going to have a second green, white, checkered attempt out of a possible 3 here in the SMRI Tilson 200. Just the last 40 laps of this thing have just not been green at all. It's been a lot of hard racing. You could tell it was almost time to go win. This is a crown jewel event, so it's full distance. This might be the last one on the schedule this year for the B season. I believe Daytona was a full distance, so this was the second of 2. Just 14 cautions for, I believe, 40 laps? Just a lot of laps out there. Lots of cautions. Ethan has controlled most of this race. Tucher, I spent a lot of time in second, though in the middle of the race. Tucher fell back a little bit on a long run. Still got Jeff Green up there in the top 6. Hopefully they can finish this thing here. Not wanting to, it's not fun being a driver out here and when you have to use all these green, white checkers. It's the worst thing that could happen out there. It doesn't make everybody feel good. Just everybody wrecking. But real quick here before we go back green for our second attempt. Again, this is the SMRI Tilson 200. We're live on the Elite Racing Network on YouTube. We got Ryan here. He's helping out. Thank him for helping out. Everybody at C2 Freight, Blue Egg, everybody who helps put this thing live on YouTube, get these drivers out here, all these sponsors out here, these guys taking time out of their lives, and Chad taking time out of his life to run Chad runs a league race, it feels like every night, so a lot goes into this, a lot more than what you see. A lot of fun. Hopefully that was the last yellow and we can see a great finish here. Ethan's going to pick the top. He's going to take off. Ooh, stack up back there on the inside lane. The inside lane's really stacking up. They're going to wreck again. I'm not sure if it's going to bring out a caution. It's still green. Side-by-side battle for the lead. Is it still green? Tucher's out front. Still no caution. We have a lead change. Tucher to the lead. He's sideways a little bit. They're going to be back side by side. Going into 3 and 4 here. Ethan's in the preferred lane. Tucher sliding. Ethan sliding a little bit. White flag is out. We are going to finish it right here. Ethan's going to get clear into 1. Trevor's going to try to stick it up there for 2nd. They're going to touch. Tucher and Elam touch. Elam's going to spin. He's going to save it. Oh, we got Josh Robbins spinning here. He's going to... Everybody's saving it. Everybody's out of control. But it looks like it's going to be Ethan off of 4. Oh, we got a big wreck here in 3 and 4. It's multiple cars. We got Rucker. We got Robin. But Burrell's going to come down and he's going to win the race in front of Tucher. I am not sure after that. I think the 56. And then we got Frankenfield and Green. There was a huge wreck back there in 3 and 4, though, with Rucker and those guys around 6th or 7th place. But just based on what I'm seeing here, it's going to be Burrell, Tucher, Hogan, Frankenfield, and Jeff Green in the top 5. Fode's going to be 6th. Trevor Elam ended up 7th after going side by side for 2nd there into 1. Just bounced off of Tucher a little bit up into the wall, saved it. You got Gerald Campbell 8th, Josh Adams 9th, and Josh Robin in 10th. And I talked about him there when he got his free pass. Brandon Key's going to end up 17th. So a good recovery for him here at the end. Some of them guys that ended up wrecked, though. Rucker's back in 19th. Hank's back in 23rd. There was a pretty good wreck there on that white flag lap. I think the best car here tonight won, but there's a lot of conversation going on about that last lap here. That was an incredible finish there. I'm not sure where Tucher got that run, but to have the lead change twice there on the green-white checkered, great finish. I hate that Tate had to go and miss the great finish between his teammates there. Ethan is just burning it down here on the front stretch, though. Celebrating, big win. Car, probably the cleanest car here. Well-deserved. Spent most of the time out front in the lead, and he blew it up. Again, just watched the end of the SMRI Tilson 200. Ended up going about 250, it feels like. But, yeah, that's a couple green-white checkers. Great finish at the end, though. Some things are changing here on the rundown, on the fly, because of what happened on that last lap. Again, there was a huge wreck in 3 and 4 at about 7th, 8th, 9th place. Someone, it looks like, has gotten sent to the back. Key's going to move up to 16th. I can't tell exactly where the cutoff is, where guys started moving up. Ended up with 25 guys on the lead lap. Just again, I'll run all the way through the finishing order here. We got Burrell out front, led the most laps. Tucker 2nd, Hogan 3rd, Frankenfield in 4th, Jeff Green in 5th, Fode, Elam, Campbell, Adams, and Robin finish out the top 10. Fern in 11th, Goodman, Dylan Thomas, we saw him run at the front early in the race, got caught up in a couple accidents, able to rebound to 13th. Wyatt Naddle, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Ended up 14th. The 68, John, ended up 15th. Brandon Key, 16th. Vincent Isabella, 17th. We saw Westergreen run around 10th. A lot of the last portion of that race ended up 18th. I think he was one of the cars that got wrecked. Ended up in that wreck on the last lap. Trey Holmes comes from 20th. Clark, Hossack, Steinmiller, Hank Steinmiller, another car we saw run at the front. Thought he was going to have a shot to win. Ended up wrecked a couple times there late in the race. Got that speeding penalty on pit road. Richard Hines and Ryan Barbier ended up 25th, and that's your lead lap finishers. How's it going, Garrison? Solid P3 out there.
It's going okay. I mean, honestly, I was disappointed earlier in the race when I got the damage that really hurt. 26 seconds there and a bunch of other contact on the wall. So, I mean, at the end of the day, before I hit the wall really hard late in the race, trying really hard to get to the front, you know, it was just about salvaging a top three finish for my team. But that was pretty much it. Just getting through the race and getting the top three.
Now, we saw you check up and give Tucker second there on one of those late restarts, and then we saw a black flag clear. Did you just not realize that was going to get cleared, or was that some kind of strategic move to let Tucker back in front of you?
So, the honest story is I went and me not, I guess, paying attention. It was a lot going on with the text and everything with my spotter talking. So on our racing, it was just making a lot of calls. And then all of a sudden, after the green flag disappeared, it was a yellow flag. And then it gave me a black and green flag at the same time. So when the yellow flag was up there on my screen, it just made me check up and I thought it was a caution that was out. So honest mistake and really, at the end of the day, it probably didn't matter anyway. Tucher definitely deserved the second place finish. I would have just been in the way probably.
So yeah, your teammates with those guys first and second. So first, second, third, all from the same team. What did you think about the race tonight and the getting to watch those guys duke it out for the finish there? It was pretty exciting on that last green white checker.
Yeah, I really just wanted it to go green at some point. I felt like I probably had the best long run speed in there. I remember specifically we did one run and I came from like 12th or something further back and I drove up there and I was like top four. I knew I could chase down Ethan and possibly get to his bumper. Now, passing him is another thing. You got to have the clean air here at this track, but the right rear was wearing a lot and some people just didn't do a very good job of saving and others made contact with the wall. So all night it was about the restarts, and the restarts just kept killing me. And especially after I got the early damage and more damage as it went down the line. So the restarts were bad for me, but with the countdowns and the help of my teammates, it kind of got me in a position to get a P3.
Yeah, it was fun watching you all night. Tate joined me up here in the booth for a long time, and we were talking about your long run pace there when we had that one really long run in the middle of the race. How you were matching lap times with Burrell. Anybody you want to thank tonight, and hopefully you enjoyed your time out here tonight, finishing third.
Yeah, I wish it does, go green more often in these races. I would like to see that. I think that would definitely not benefit me, but just to have everyone kind of learn from that and run laps or whatever. But I would like to thank the Pro Edge team anyway. Without them, I wouldn't be here. Of course, those are my guys. Those are my friends. They're the reason why I'm here in the league. And Dead Zone Racing, which I'm a part of course. Thank them every week, every day. I'm about to go work on the road to pro setup with them right now, hopefully in a few minutes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And thank you guys for broadcasting as well.
All right, man. Thanks for coming out tonight and showing us a good run. Congrats on your third place finish. Great run for y'all's team tonight, and hopefully we'll see you around maybe next week.
Thank you.
That was Garrison Hogan, our third place finisher. How's it going, David? Solid run tonight. You and Ethan controlling those restarts and gave us a little show at the end. You finally pulled the pass off. Just couldn't stay in front of him. Tell us about your night.
It was a good night. This one's this one's definitely going to be in the memory book. Started on pole, couldn't ask for a better starting spot. Led some laps, double digits. It was just a good night. Halfway through the race, we got a little bit of a long tire run, and I wasn't really that good on the long run. Was struggling with the right rear, fell just outside the top five, and then from that point on, it was just work your way forward with what you had, and got a little damage early, which held us back quite a bit. Got that fixed and was just focused on trying to get back to the front, which we did, and had a few opportunities to go for the lead and did get to the lead, but just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, you guys sure did put on a show from those restarts. And just watching, at what point did you guys stop becoming teammates and start trying to race for the win? Was it the green white checkers? Was it a little earlier? because you had to know that Ethan was going to be hard to make that pass, and I mean, you finally pulled it off there at the end and gave it right back when you got sideways out of 2.
Yeah. We came to an agreement. We were like, yeah, we got to race this out. It's only fair to ourselves and each other. 100%. I think we race each other the hardest out of anybody. So to race a teammate for the win, I couldn't ask for a better deal. But I wanted to win it just as much as he did, and he just got the better of me.
Yeah, it definitely was a good show to watch there at the end. And like you mentioned earlier, in the middle of the race, you kind of fell back. You controlled this thing. Like I said, it seemed like yesterday at this point, as long as that took, with as many yellows had came out there at the end. But the first 30 laps, it looked like it was going to be you, and then Ethan got around you, and then that long run, you kind of faded. Did you fade because of damage, or was it just you used up the tires trying to pass Chad?
It was a little bit of mixture of things. Tires, the car handled completely different in clean air. As soon as Ethan passed me, literally I hit his dirty air and the car just went straight, and I hit the wall, which didn't help me at all. And then, like you mentioned, Chad stayed out. Q guys stayed out, and just tried to get to the bottom and pass them cleanly. But with this track and the way it is, it's so tiny. There's little racing room to make a clean pass, and finally got by him. But when I did, I used so much of my tires that I couldn't hold on. I was losing the right rear, and it just kept slipping farther and farther and away from me. But luckily, we were able to recover and come away home with the second place.
Yeah, when we were watching that go down, we were talking about, it can be hard to pass Chad if he wants it to be. And Ethan was sitting there just laying, waiting on you to make that move and follow you through.
Yeah, like 100% from my side. It's just I enjoy racing the person clean. That's the first thing I want as far as my reputation is, just to race people clean and know that I'm a clean driver, and try to do it as cleanly as possible and make sure I don't take anybody out, at least not on purpose. That's the last thing I want to do. Sometimes my emotions get the better of me, but that always happens sometimes. But it's racing. But like you said, just little racing room, and just tight quarters, especially with the 29. I want to apologize to him, especially on that last restart. We got going into one, and he got to my outside, which is fine. I knew we were going to race it into one, considering how many laps we had left, and I drove it down in there, washed up a little bit. I think we both could have given each other a little bit more room, but like I said, it's just racing.
Well, all right, man. Congrats on your second place run. Anybody you wanna thank tonight?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to JD Designs. He made all our Pro Edge paint schemes. I'm a huge fan of the one I'm driving, considering I've driven it every single week. Like I just love the way this car looks, and love to put it up front for him. Just this whole Pro Edge team. We're starting to get our momentum rolling, and get as many cars in the top 5, top 10, which is what we've been needing as a race team. I know it's not been that way on the Cup side, but at least the Xfinity side, we've been pumping out these results back-to-back weeks, and couldn't ask for a better race team to work with.
Well, all right, man. Thanks. Congrats on your second place finish. 1, 2, 3 for y'all's team. Everybody's car tonight. Throwback night, by the way. It was fun to see everybody's car. And
Alrighty, buddy.
We'll see you next week.
Alrighty, you have a good one.
That was David Tucher, everybody, second place. Now our winner's here. The only guy that's probably really thrilled about tonight, Ethan Burrell. Kind of spanked him out there a little bit, man. Kind of put on a show until the very end when your teammate there finally got the pass made. What were you thinking there when he got around you?
Oh yeah, man, it was a blast out there. Yeah, it was. I had some great speed, and I knew Tucker had great speed. I think I was a little better on the long run, and I think that's where I ended up getting the lead from him. But I was so thankful having a team car up there on those restarts, because it was a big advantage for me to kind of helping me hold the spot. But yeah, that last restart, he timed it perfect, and he slid up in front of me. I saw him getting a little sideways, and I was trying to set up a crossover to get back under him, and I ended up jacking his back end up out of 2. I honestly don't know how he kept it straight, but thankfully I was kind of able to get back next to him and lean on him a little bit and get the spot back. But man, that was awesome.
Yeah, this race had a little bit of everything. We had, of course, the last 30 laps, lots of yellows. I don't, how was that from your seat with all the yellows? And you're the leader, so you keep just having to hope nothing goes wrong, and you're working with your teammate there when Tucher got back to second. But what's that like sitting in the car?
Yeah, it's rough. I really wanted for us to get some long runs going and log laps because like I said, I felt really good on the long runs. There was a couple guys though that I think were kind of at a disadvantage having those short runs at the end, like the 56, 63, 40. I knew those guys were really fast on the long run too, but um, yeah, man, it's too. I mean, it's nerve-wracking being the leader for that many restarts, especially late in the race, and there's guys slowly gaining positions each restart that have newer tires than you, and you're just hoping and praying you can finally see the white flag, and that one of those runs right before the green white checkers. I mean, we were just about to take the white, and I had a good lead, and then it came out, but just keeping the composure and thankfully having the help of teammates around you, it kind of gives you a little bit more security.
When you watch it back, you're going to be real lucky that, you're going to be surprised at how close the caution was to coming out on the second attempt, because there was a pretty big accident there right at the start finish line that I'm still not sure how iRacing didn't throw a yellow. But yeah, and then like you said, early in the race, we got those long green runs where it seemed like you just kind of let David use his stuff up trying to pass Chad, and then when he got around Chad, you went up with him, and then you passed David, and Tucker was gone at that point. You had saved your tires way better than those two. Is that part of the plan there, or were you just running as hard as you could and couldn't pass Tucker at that point?
No, yeah, you got it spot on. I mean, I was, we kind of got out there and we both were, I told him too. I was like, I'm just gonna hang here, until you get by the 15, because I knew the 15 was gonna try to put up a fight, especially, we were kind of getting close to those stage points. So um, I was totally in the mindset of cruising, and I was kind of helping manage the gap back behind us to the 40 at that point, and we got around Chad, and I started picking up the pace, and I saw him starting to slide around up in front of me, so I knew it was about go time at that point, because if it was just short runs, I don't think I would have been able to do anything to Tucker. So I definitely had to strike when I did on that long run there on the older tires.
Yeah, you definitely appeared to have the best car in the long run. The longest run of the race, I think you drove out well out over second place. I think the only car that could match your pace at that time was the 56, and at that point he was 4 seconds behind you. So I don't think you had anything to worry about. So anybody you want to thank tonight? You won the race, got a lot of sponsors out there.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Huge shout out to Michael Goodman and Miss Goodies Goodies. He hooked me up with a throwback scheme just a couple nights ago, and I wasn't even planning on running one, but I mean, he approached me about running one of his cars. So huge shout out to him for the sweet Jeremy Mayfield throwback and Miss Goodies Goodies. Parking it in Victory Lane with his colors was awesome, and my grandma and my buddy Austin for tuning in, and all the guys at Pro Edge Racing, of course. I mean, I don't know if I could have defended my spot as well without those guys up there around me. So big shout out to them, and thanks to you guys for putting on a great show for us.
We just had to talk about the show. You guys put on the show out there, especially that last run, man. That was a lot of fun to watch you and Tucker go at it. But congrats on your win. We'll see you next week, man. Hopefully, it's a close race next week too.
All right, thanks, buddy.
And that was Ethan Burrell. Won tonight, dominating performance. Really, nobody had anything for him, I didn't think. And then at the end, we saw Tucker make that pass for the lead. But that was the SMRI Tilson 200. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully the show was good. I don't typically show up in the booth. I'm typically on the track. So hopefully I didn't hurt the show too bad tonight. But